Hi there, everybody, and a very happy eclipse to all of you. I'm doing this reading purposefully and intentionally only for the eclipse to see what energies might come up to, for Spirit to say, we need to work on this, we need to focus on this, see what comes up, and if there's any guidance that will just help you along with whatever it is that you're doing. I actually just had a chat to a client and we were talking about what this moon means and the fact that it's a blood moon. So just a bit of info. A blood moon in ancient times did seem like something quite negative. It was often seen as like the end of times. This is a bad omen. Essentially what's happening is the sun and the earth and the moon are perfectly in alignment, and when the moon passes through the darkest shadow of earth's shadow, or the darkest part of that shadow, which is called the umbra, this is when we see the blood moon. It turns this dark red color. A blood moon is hugely significant in terms of closing chapters, dealing with certain things that maybe we didn't want to deal with. So sometimes it brings up our darker aspects of ourselves. It reveals things to us. With it being in Pisces, it could very well be through dreams, things that we feel a bit uncomfortable about, guilty about. And it's a time to forgive yourself. It's time to have that ending so that you can have a new beginning. This is about bringing those things up so that you can clear things up. There's also an element of illumination that comes up here where certain things are revealed to us. Like I say, you could have things personally about yourself that are revealed to you, those shadow aspects, and then also certain things that just come to light. We either have a realization about something, an epiphany, or there's a secret that's been kept from us and someone can't keep that secret anymore, or, you know, as they say, the wheel turns, or things kind of sort themselves out, and by some strange turn of events, you find out the truth about a situation. That's the kind of energy that we're dealing with now. All right. And so this is a time to get rid of old habits. It is a time for us not to feel vulnerable in that space, but to say, okay, I'm going to deal with these things and leave them behind. That puts me in more control of my own life. That gives me more autonomy. It frees up space for me to welcome new things in. All right, so please go in with that mindset. And with that being said, let's get on with the reading. I might pull some other decks, but for now, I'm using the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I thought it was quite fitting, and we'll see what comes up there. Okay, so what do we need to know most importantly today, please, for this eclipse? What energies are we dealing with, and what advice is there for us? Pleasure. Okay, so I was just thinking this when I was talking to you. Um, this is waning gibbous, which is usually when the moon is getting smaller after the full moon. And this is telling us to seek pleasure, to find pleasure in the things that we need to, and also that certain things that we maybe haven't dealt with or forgiven ourselves for are those things that are going to stand in the way of our pleasure. All right, so embrace those things. Funny enough, I've also just had this repeated, and I've said it to other people, but I did a reading with a client last week. I don't know if you're watching, but I said, if you reach the pinnacle of an experience, or you reach the ceiling of a situation, that becomes the floor. And from there, you work up to the next ceiling, and you want to find that pleasure and that satisfaction. But we should never be satisfied. We should always be looking for the next thing. Okay. There's a quote I came across that says, "Desire can never be satisfied." That's what makes it so compelling, and that's what keeps us moving forward. That's what keeps us closing chapters, starting new things. It's not about just closing all the chapters in your life and then you'll be satisfied. That's not what life's about. There are constantly new people, things, experiences coming into your life that do potentially hold things that you might regret, or that cause you to get into a bad habit, or whatever the case might be. But that is the beauty of the human experience. So it's not to say that we should shy away from that, all right? And this is also number 9, which shows, again, ending some kind of cycle, getting to the end of something or pinnacle of an experience so that you can move into a new one. So embrace pleasure. What gives you pleasure? That's what you should be focusing on after this full moon, because a waning gibbous is the moon getting smaller, and that will be after the full moon. Okay, so set your intentions on the full moon and then embrace things that bring pleasure into your life. Darkness, long night moon. Okay. Okay, interesting that I actually spoke about how the moon is in shadow. This is a lunar eclipse that we're seeing here, and we've got this rabbit, and rabbits are always associated with fertility and abundance and the potential for new things. And it's like this little rabbit is sitting there looking up at the moon, setting his intentions. And I think that's quite lovely. And you see how his path is illuminated. The moon might be dark, and he might be in the same situation we're in now, where certain things are going to be brought up, and we might have to face elements of ourselves that we don't like, or inconvenient truths, but his path is illuminated. It's quite a beautiful picture, that, actually. Can you see a little rabbit in the corner there? Long night moon. I feel like it's very important to be mindful of this evening. Try to spend some time, even if it is like taking a negativity bath with some salt and some lovely essential oils or herbs that you put in yourself. If it's just sitting out, having a look at the moon, make 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, but find that stillness. Walk outside barefoot and step on the ground. Let those ions exchange so that you can have some grounding energy to move forward with. If you've been feeling unstable, once we have a lot of instability in our lives, especially emotionally and psychologically, we will actually find that manifests into our physical self. So if you find yourself doing silly little things, like you're chopping the vegetables for dinner and you cut your finger, you walk down the passage and you bump into something, you trip over something, sorry, my throat's a bit funny today. Excuse me. You trip over something, you stub your toe on your solid wood bed, and you just feel like you're off balance, you're off kilter. That is your body saying you are off balance on the inside. Please, can you fix it? Because now it's manifesting to the outside. We can also see it in our reactions to certain people. We're not responding, we're reacting. We're very reactionally, emotionally reactive. So look out for things like that, because it will eventually manifest in your physical. And if you're feeling that way, the best thing that you can do is walk out tonight under the moon, take your shoes off, stand on some ground, and let the positive and negative ions exchange. All right, you need to release positive ions. It seems like it's the other way around, but you need to release them and let the earth take them, because that is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be walking around barefoot from time to time, and life is just not that way anymore. And that is something that brings huge grounding energy and balance into our bodies. Make the time for it. 10 minutes of your life can change things significantly. Okay, let's see what else. What else, please? Thank you. Oh, there's 3 here. Okay, the first one is discernment. There's a number 10. Again, 10 shows the closing of a cycle. Sorry, just give me a second. There's a lot of information here. This is about how you can grow, all right? This is about closing those chapters, forgiving yourself for certain things that maybe you felt were things that you should not have done, that you regret. Like I said, some of you may dream about it, because we're in this Pisces dreamer kind of energy. Maybe you came up with something that was a bit unrealistic and it hasn't worked out. Forgive yourself, move on, start the new thing, start the next thing. There's no need for you to beat yourself up about it all the time. That's not going to get you anywhere. Just start something else, start the next thing. Nobody who opened a business always gets it right the first time. Sometimes it's the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th time before they actually start seeing results. Okay. Also, I feel like you do need to very much try and immerse yourself in nature today, even if it's for 10 minutes. See yourself as, being in the bigger picture here. Do you see how she has a lot of clouds around her? This is usually a symbol of confusion. And I think that by feeling connected, she's got the solar energy, the lunar energy, all the planets around her. She's got this cosmos at the top. Remind yourself that you are part of a much bigger picture. Remind yourself that you are part of the cosmos. You are made of dust. You are part of all of these things, and you are interconnected. You're not just this one person. A man is not an island. All right? And the more we feel connected in that way, the easier things are to bear, the easier things are to understand. And it's asking you to get some perspective as well and some discernment. We see more clearly when we do feel connected, when we keep that connection to spirit open as well and say, please show me what is going on here. Help me to get clarity. What do I need to do next? Show me what's possible in the situation. There's a myriad of really sensible questions you can ask that are going to get you the results and the answers that you're looking for. Okay, so take this time to also use discernment. Detach yourself from certain situations. Anything that does feel confusing, look at it from an outsider's perspective. Pretend that you're a total stranger. Like if you go and see an attorney, you say to them, this is my problem. They look at you as a completely different person. You are not them. And they look at the situation and the circumstances around you and they say, okay, this is what I advise you do. I do the same thing with my clients when I'm especially doing like the energy sessions that I'll do tonight for people. They give me the story about what's going on and I look at it, I look at them, emotionally objective because it's not me. And I say, okay, these are the factors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see what to do. Let's do this and that and that. I think that's the best approach. That's how you need to look at yourself and look at your problems. Anything that you find confusing, you need to get that discernment back. And that's how you do it. That's how you gain perspective on a situation. Be an outsider. Look at it like you are a good friend looking at your situation or someone who has your best interest at heart and say, listen, that's a no. You shouldn't be doing that anymore or hanging out with that person, or this is really not working and you need to be honest with yourself and say it's not working and move on to the next thing, whatever that might be. See what advice you come up with for yourself. Change. Thunder Moon. This is a beautiful card, actually. Do you see that this is actually an egg? And again, the egg shows that potential for abundance and fertility. Bring change and embrace change. Change is chaotic. Change is uncomfortable. So is healing. Healing is very much glorified, and so is change. And we're going through these wonderful changes, and it's going to be so healing and cathartic. Yes, it is. But healing is painful. Don't let anybody tell you any different. It's what we feel after that is helpful, but the actual process is painful. Just like going for an operation, the actual operation isn't as bad as the recovery period is. Okay, so whatever that event is sometimes not as bad as how long it takes us to get over it and heal from it. Healing is not pretty. It's ugly crying, it's getting mad and angry, it's sometimes neglecting ourselves because we feel bad. It's not pretty. Okay, but you have to embrace and welcome change, because that is the only thing that brings true transformation into your life. She's kicking against this egg. She's probably going to crack it open. All right, there's lightning and thunder and all kinds of chaos around her, but she needs that chaos, because when it settles, that is when she'll have the true change. That is when she'll feel the true healing. Don't be afraid to look at defects and correct them, okay? Because that's the only thing that's going to bring you happiness. The things that are wrong, that are confusing, that upset you, take ownership of them. Take control of that situation. Bring the change. And here you have new moon beginnings. We actually have a new moon eclipse that's going to come up later on in the month, in 2 weeks' time. I will be doing that around the equinox as well. Is it the equinox? Yes, I'll send out things closer to the time. Don't take anything I say around that as gospel at the moment, please. But here we have this beautiful new rite of passage, this archway, this portal that we can move through. and move to something better, move to something with new inspiration, fresh starts, new potentials. And it's encouraging you to do that. Let this be your main focus for the next 2 weeks, because that is the entire theme of everything. You have 2 eclipses following each other. Okay, this is a profoundly transformational time. Don't let it pass you by without you having done anything, because then you'll just add 2 more regrets. And you don't have to do anything major. It doesn't have to be huge ritualistic stuff. Walk out tonight, stand barefoot, look at the moon, set an intention, make a few promises to yourself. And also promise yourself that if you do fail, you'll forgive yourself. Okay, these little wins and fails that we have along life are not the be all and end all. It's not everything. We mustn't forget to see the bigger picture of everything, and that we are here to learn lessons. That is your human experience. All right. Am I going to leave it at that? Let's see the bottom of the deck. Purity. Snow moon. This feels hugely relieving, and the next one is release. Okay. That just feels like a breath of fresh air, and I feel like that's what we should be moving to, from the darkness to this lighter kind of energy. Okay? Purity. Purify. That's what it's all about. Have that salt bath. Let everything go down the drain, and you wash it away, and you feel like, what a relief when all of that negativity gets pulled out of your body and gets to go down the drain, and you say, okay, I'm starting afresh. Rinse yourself down, get out of that bath, and you're a brand new person. What are you going to do with that? All right. Release. That's exactly what we need to be doing. And I saw another one at the bottom, and I was going to not take it, but I have to take it. It says sovereignty. That's what you need to realize. This gives you power. Don't let other things have power over you, like a silly thing that you did 14 years ago, and you're still letting it run your life. You're still letting it prevent you from doing things. Take that control. Break the old habit. Dr. Joe Dispenza has got a wonderful way of saying it. Break the habit of being yourself. You can start over. There's no rule book that says that you can't. Okay. And with that, I'm going to wish you a wonderful eclipse, and I'll chat to you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.